It was a cut in state aid that the La Crosse School District had been planning for since this summer. The Department of Public Instruction says La Crosse will get a little more than $31 million. Now that's down about 3% from last year, but better than district officials expected. News 8's Pauline Lee joins us now to break down the numbers.
Well, state aid is one of the main ways the La Crosse School District funds programs and services during the school year. But in the midst of cuts to budgets and funding, it can be a struggle to provide the quality education families are looking for. As a second-grade teacher at Hamilton Elementary in La Crosse, Ed Ludwig says there are always pluses and minuses to the job.
People don't really go into teaching for the money, but they oftentimes leave it because of the money. And that's tough.
Ludwig has been teaching for 20 years, but says because of budget cuts and less state aid, it's becoming harder for teachers to do their jobs.
I would say it's a fair estimate to say the average teacher lost between 5 and 10% of their actual wage and benefit package last year. That's a lot when you consider the result of it means we'll be doing more work.
For the 2012-2013 school year, the La Crosse district planned for about $1.1 million in cuts. The majority of the cuts are being made up by requiring employees to contribute more to their health insurance, in addition to cutting funding for field trips and after-school sports activities.
It's trying to do the best that we can when we're making reductions with the funding that we have available. We do our very best to provide the best services we can for students, and it's all a big balancing act.
Funding the budget comes in two main ways: state aid and property taxes. This year, the district was expecting roughly $31 million in state aid, which would have meant increasing property taxes to make up the difference. However, the district actually received closer to $31.2 million. And even though that's still a decrease in state aid from last year, it leaves about $140,000 the district will use to offset any tax rate increases.
That's good news for us because that means that our local property tax owners will pay less because more of the expenses will be covered at the state level.
Ludwig says while this budget seems to be working now, he worries if the cuts continue into the future, it could be difficult to find and keep good qualified teachers.
Our district's been pretty wise in how they've put money in certain places to keep programming going along pretty well, but we're at the end of their creative budgeting.
Now, planning for the 2013-2014 school year budget will begin in January. District officials say this budget may be even harder to plan since it will be the beginning of a new two-year budget cycle. But again, officials say they will do the best they can to try to provide a balance in quality programs and services with more possibly budget cuts and less state aid.
Thanks a lot, Pauline. La Crosse wasn't the only district to see a decrease in state aid. The majority of public schools, 64%, are getting less money this year. Part of the reason is because $158 million in aid, as we told you last night, is being directed toward private school choice programs in Milwaukee and Racine.